Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bailey Saul here with you live from Garthwaite Stadium at 11th and Harry Streets in beautiful downtown Conshohocken, PA, where the Phoenix today are welcoming the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds, many of whom apparently are off at Poultry Days in Ohio, a social tournament, I am told, that features voluminous amounts and terrific varieties of cooked chicken. I am joined after we get things rolling here this afternoon, by my clock man, timekeeper, former head coach, and general overall buddy in the sport, Steve Leinert.
Yeah, thanks, Bailey. Good to see you again, bud.
You too, man. So we also have our first woman player that we've had here at the Phoenix Stadium, who is Shayna Reppermond. She's wearing number 6 today, is not in the starting lineup. It looks like I don't see a disc, so it looks like actually, yes, I do, in Greg Martin's hand for the Phoenix. I knew I should just check number 4. He will be pulling, and Pittsburgh is on 0 to start the game off. We are hopeful and expectant that we will get through this game with actually the cloudiness abating a little bit. The lights are already on here, and for the first time this summer, we are not expecting voluminous amounts of rain and repeated lightning strikes to delay us. Of course, that being said, we'll probably get some freak, quirky thing in an hour just to prove me wrong. We want to welcome all of you here to our live stream. As usual, we have the inestimable Nick Halliday, Len Evans, and Pat Gariantes here in the booth with us. Pittsburgh starts out deep at their 6, trying to work through that Phoenix defense. They
like a little humid out here tonight.
Oh, it's very humid, yeah.
In other games, that hammer wouldn't have worked, but they're
scoring for both teams here. We will try to keep abreast of that and keep you guys well informed.
Pittsburgh, you got to give them credit. They've come out rather hungry here in the.
They
first
sure
couple
have.
points.
They sure have.
But the Phoenix just has to settle down, find their rhythm, and maybe not throw into some tight spaces. That's what caused the first turnover. There was a throw into with a defender right on somebody's tail.
And we have Greg Martin pulling again. This time, Dave Baer and Nardelli are in on defense, along with Igor Smola, number 32, making his first appearance this year. Dave marking the disc right now, wearing 42. And Igor is on the handler now. Ooh, that's very close. It's on the sideline, and the call is that he's in. The whistle shouldn't normally be blown for that, but number 2 with the disc, John Mast, swings it over to Dave Vatz, who is making a surprise appearance here for one of the subs that's been brought in, and that's Max Shepard and John Mast. John Mast lets it go to number 4. Dave Vatz up there, and Vatz will pop it across to Max Shepard. So we have Vatz to Shepard for the goal, and it's all of a sudden 3-1. I think Philadelphia better realize they're in a game here before they let things get out of hand.
They seem to be letting up deep shots as if the wind was some kind of factor here tonight.
No,
and the Thunderbirds are having no problem throwing their flicks out there.
That's
and
true.
Completing some deep shots.
I also noticed that on the shot to the goal line, we once again had a Phoenix player whiffing at the disc, swinging at it rather than just playing offense. If you spend another half step getting to it and stick your hand in front of the disc rather than the very satisfying thing of swinging at it and hitting it, you stand a much better chance of actually making contact.
Take note, young players.
Please.
That's gospel right there.
Play O all the time, folks. Do not swing at the disc. The intersection is just a nanosecond, and most of us ain't that good. Dustin Damiano lets it go out to get the brick, and it looks like that's Ethan Fortin is going to bring it and center it. Dustin will be his dump. And we've got a little vertical stack on the right, so well, a little hodgepodge. Mott is going over to the left as Ethan looks, and he does the dump to Dustin, who is double-teamed. Ethan was double-teamed, so he dumps to Dustin rather than going up. Now it's just Dustin and Ethan working it back and forth. A nice shot up to Sean Mott at the 22, and he puts out a big lefty backhand to Himalaya Mehta, who just gets that at the 3 over May and pops it over to Trey Katzenbach, who goes in for the score. So we have Himalaya Mehta to Trey, each of their first points. Trey made that look very easy. He just sort of stepped in while the disc was in the air.
You got to give credit to your boy Mott there with a deep shot. Not many Phoenix players are willing to take that shot. Have we seen? They've been holstering it a little bit, and Mott is never one to shy away from Himalaya Mehta seeing his number on his back there and letting him fly.
Nor should he when Mehta has 6 or 7 yards on his defender and is as open as he was there. It was an easy rope in for Himalaya, who then just, caught it inside the 5 and took an easy swing to Trey for the score. This is what Philly really needs to do. James Pollard with the big pull. We remember him for a couple great plays last week, especially that catch at the end of the half. Pittsburgh brings it up. Number 2, John Mast in the middle. Dumping to Shepard, it looks like, who puts out a big righty flick. And again, but James gets over there and pops that thing out of bounds. That time we had some closing speed on the disc deep. And the Phoenix could get that break back, the early break back here.
You still would like to see him catch that, but
sure,
still a nice play.
Sure, you would, and that's something that will be mentioned post-game as it was last week. Oh, and an instant throwaway by Nick Patel, the very rare throwaway, trying to get to Ryan Brown there, and he just couldn't get it across. Ryan couldn't get to it. It was way too far and too flat. And Pittsburgh, with a shot from number 2, John Mast, to number 44, Andrew Gardner with the goal, and John Mast the assist. Again, carelessness is getting in the way of progress here.
That's the second swing pass the Phoenix have turned over. Just unforced errors.
Yeah.
Kill you every time, Nick Patel just put it out a little too far.
Yep.
And all of a sudden Pittsburgh has it on the goal line. And they are taking advantage right now.
So it looks like Jordan Robarge and Vince Tranquillo will be making their first appearances here for Pittsburgh. I may be incorrect about that, but I just noticed them going in on D. And again, we have our O-line of Damiano, Mehta, Fortin, Katzenbach, Arcata, and that's – who is that? No, that's Strauss, Greg Strauss and Sean Mott. Arcata with it in the middle at the 30, over to Fortin, who's looking around, seeing if he can get something upfield. He cannot, so it's back to Damiano, back to Mehta at the 34. Nice easy flick that's tried for but missed. And Ethan Fortin with a very nice round-the-bend flick into the end zone to the GM Mike Arcata with his first goal, and Ethan Fortin with his first assist. And we are back to 4-3.
That was as easy as it gets for the Phoenix there, Mike.
It really was.
Mike was just sitting back there, and I don't know if the Thunderbird defenders were waiting for him to come back underneath, but he just sat there wide open underneath and waited, or wide open deep, and waited for someone to find him.
Yep. And we have Pat Hammonds in the game at this point, closest to our sideline. Also Max Shepard. And I'm thinking Jonathan Mast is going to be out there. I see Dave Vatz with the traditional backwards hat. Another nice pull by the Phoenix. Hammonds will rope this in. No, Dave Hammonds, yes, will start the point. I think that was.
Close.
Dave Vatz on the near sideline, shooting it up to number 15, who's Scott Trimble, who overthrows number 91, Chris Graber, in the end zone.
Mr. Graber misread that a little bit.
Yes, he did. He stayed a little too close to the sideline, didn't he?
He certainly did.
We have Dave Vatz is going to be on Dave Baer, the matchup of Daves. Bears on the goal line, and he puts up a big backhand. He just does not care. Going to 96 and overthrows him. Casey Vaughn. So we're going to have to give Dave Baer that one because it was just too far.
He just needed to hold the disc in his hand for another second or two, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he didn't have receivers getting open. That's now at the 20 with Baer marking him, the 19 to be exact. And again, we have a big huck by Pittsburgh from number 2, John Mast, and that is just eaten up by Eric Nardelli. The Nard takes it at the 16, swings it across to Greg Martin. Easy backhand to Nick Patel, looking for a little redemption. He gets blocked, and it is caught by Dave Vatz. Nick Patel with another turnover. That makes 2 for him already. Dave Vatz scooting it over to Shepard. Big Blady flick going the far side. He's not in. Number 15 holding the disc, Scott Trimble, and he gets it in to, we will see his number in a minute. The backwards hat, I think that's Manganetti. Anyway, that was Mast, and we have Pittsburgh at 5-3 now.
And Nick Patel's having a little bit of a rough start to this game.
Yeah, he needs to
tighten
get a breath.
Tighten it up a little bit, that's all. Still just down that break.
And that was 84, I'm sorry, David Angeletti, who caught that one from John Mast. And a nice pull by Pittsburgh, received by Ethan Fortin. Faked one side to Ben Davies, goes to Katzenbach instead, up to Sean Mott, who swings to Zubin Mehta up in the middle, and Mike Arcata coming back wide open. Mehta too fixated on the dump. Arcata over to Ben Davies, who's looking around, decides on the easy flick, which he misthrows. That's Ben's turnover, and we have the 4th or 5th turn already. Ethan Fortin just cannot get that.
Another unforced
So
error.
we're going to have to give that to Ben Davies. 94 with the disc over here. John Buss pops it upfield to 21, who is putting a big flick into the back of the end zone, and that's knocked away by Greg Strauss on the D.
Great hustle by Greg Strauss right there.
Real nice play. We have Trey Katzenbach walking it up with Liam Rosen guarding him. Katzenbach to Arcata. Oh, Mike gets tipped. That is up. Number 8, Ethan Fortin with a very nice scoop off a foot block. Sean Mott all alone against number 94. And that's Sean roping it in the way he do. Sean Mott looking to a dump to Ben Davies. Can't do that and toes it to Greg Strauss instead. Comes back looking for the return, which he will get. Takes in easily with his right foot down. Very nice play there.
That was an 80-yard shot by Mike Arcata right there. From the goal line to deep into Pittsburgh territory to get the Phoenix out of trouble after nearly getting foot blocked in his own end zone.
Yeah.
He gets the disc back.
And you're right. That's a great turn of events from the foot block. He has to give Ethan Fortin big props on that catch.
He owes him a soda.
He does, at least.
Sure.
At least. So a nice play to get back to 5-4, but the Phoenix must start playing D here. They need to do something to get back in this game.
Pittsburgh is not giving it to them at all. They have to
get
it. They have to do something to force some kind of turnover here and get this game back on serve.
And I think Pittsburgh might want to look at some of these subs who are playing so well today as longer-term options. Dave Vatz popping it up in the middle to John Mast, who is swinging it out to number 15 over there, Scott Trimble, looking for someone. Back to Vatz, back over to Mast. And Mast is being guarded by 48 Ryan Weaver. Number 1, Max Shepard, doesn't uncork the backhand for a change. Mass back up the middle. Once again to Trimble, who lets big loopy thing go that Nard scoops out, and that, of course, is the second one for Nardelli.
He threw that like a wet noodle.
Campanella swinging back to Bear, who goes with a big flick, and he's looking Matt Esser, who's making his first appearance on O today, and he will not get him. 84 with a nice D and a hand up to Esser.
No contact on that?
There might have been a hair, but I don't know that there's a call there. They're not, yep, and Esser's not looking for one, but of course, as you point out, Esser's a brown bear out there when he plays, so it's not surprising he doesn't ask for it. But Angeletti with a nice D. And there it is. Max Shepard with a disc that's going to go to the turf. We're going to give him that turn for sure. He was looking for 84 Dave Angeletti again, and Esser pops it over to Bear. Back at the 10. Looking for an open man near side, but goes break side to Matt Esser instead. Angeletti playing off him a little bit. Dave Bear and Esser working it now. And Matt Esser is going to get the turn on that throwaway. The carelessness.
It's only a matter of time when they're messing around with it that way.
Yeah, it's really getting careless here for Pittsburgh. They're going to have to solve that. I think Trey's going to have a little heart-to-heart with them in a minute or two. John Mast looking to get around Ryan Weaver there. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that is Weaver. And Shepard on the far side with Nard on him. And pops a high flick that's easily caught in the end zone by number 4, Dave Vatz. So Vatz's first goal, Max Shepard's first assist, and yet another score for Pittsburgh to make it 6-4.
These unforced turnovers, we've been talking about it all quarter.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's practically had 0, and the
Phoenix have got to have 8 or 9 now.
I would at least 5.
It's absurd. Yeah, it's at least, I think it's 7, 6 or 7. That's very casual. I mean, it's nice to see they're relaxed, but I know Matt knew the minute he let that go. You could tell by his body language that it was no good. It was just too far.
Same thing with Arcada's turnover earlier. The same thing with Nick Patel's turnover earlier.
Right, and these are guys who –
but they know what to do.
Right, they don't typically do this either, so it's not like we expect it. Anthony Kahn with a nice rip coming down to about the 4 there. Or no, on the goal line. And it's come out to Fortin with a nice shot in between to Mike Arcada, back over to Sean Mott. And it looks like that's Greg Martin back in. No, I'm sorry, Damiano again, of course. Very nice catch by Mike Arcada from Ethan Fortin, who is determined. These guys are putting it on the ground for each other. Dustin Damiano over to Sean Mott. Nice lefty backhand, wide open Mike Arcada. Easy flick to Himalaya Mehta. Back to Ethan Fortin. He's just deciding where to put it. Let's go easy to Dustin Damiano, then to Himalaya at the 7. He stops and does an easy one to Mike Arcada. You know, this is not rocket science. I mean, it's
he just walked that in.
Yeah, Himalaya Mehta with his second assist to Mike Arcada for his second goal. Phoenix at 5 with the Thunderbirds at 6.
You got to give the Thunderbirds a little credit coming out there with a 1-3-3 look, trying to mix it up, trying to see if they can get the Phoenix to give it to them yet again, and they almost did with that throw in the middle.
Right. And you know, of course, Stevie, their longtime strategy has to be saving legs for late in the game. Because the third and fourth quarter are not going to be easy for these guys.
That's a good point.
They're
skeleton crew as it is.
Yeah. I mean, 18, I had heard they might be coming with as few as 12, so I was very glad to see they had at least 2 lines. What they have now, folks, because it's 7 on the field at a time, of course, is 2 lines plus 4 subs. They can't do wholesale 3 times, but they can do it twice. Pittsburgh with a shot to the middle to John Mast and pop up to Dave Vatz. You have Hammonds waiting here on the sideline. Pat Hammonds dumping back to John Mast. Pat apparently had shoulder surgery last year, so it's really great to see him back out here. One of the longtime Pittsburgh University stalwarts, and Pitt guys back in the day, he was quite the mouth, I got to say that. Whole Pat Hammonds could yammer with the best of them, and he loved to try and get into people's heads. We got a big crossfield flick to Scott Trimble again, dumped back to Hammonds, who pops it up the field to Shepard, and he goes deep with that flick. And look at Matt Esser get out there in front. I mean, Matt was going to be the first guy to that disc no matter what. That's great effort on the D, and the Phoenix get a well-earned turn. But, again, Max Shepard, overthrew that, so I'm going to give him the turn. Esser's walking it up with Ryan Ciccione, and Esser with the big backhand to Pollard, who reads that just beautifully to pull it in over number 91, Chris Graber. And James pops it upfield a little bit to Greg Martin, who's taking the hat off and makes it hard for me to see. Over to 96. We got Casey Vaughn and Nick Patel with an easy shot to Greg Martin for the goal and the tie game at long last. Nick Patel, a little redemption. Greg Martin, a little offense. I think Trey may already be switching things up a little bit, putting guys on different lines, but it's nice to see that. So we are back on serve because Pittsburgh got the disc to start the game and is getting the disc now. But it took until 8 seconds left in the quarter to do that.
Really nice patience by the Phoenix in that instance there. Even though the clock was running down, some people could have got anxious. They could have got nervous.
Right.
They kept their head. They kept their cool. They kept their poise. And here we are, back on serve. Now
we're going to see if Pittsburgh is going to try to make a go play here. Once again, even on the pull, the clock won't start until the release of the throw. So they may have some time. It just has to get up in the air with 8 seconds left. But they go swing instead, so the clock is running. 4, and Vats is going to pop it deep. The horn has sounded. Oh! And we have a conflagration, kind of a hospital pull because there were only 8 guys there waiting. Vince Radham's making an appearance to help the Phoenix knock that away. So a nice defensive play to end the quarter. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to allow our sponsors to regale you with the great words of their products. And thanks again for tuning in, all of you near and far. It's great to see a crowd here, and we'll be back post-haste with the second quarter.
This piece with Eric is amazing to me. It's right in line with what we think is critical for kids, and that is to know their bodies.
The kids have really gotten into having speakers here that aren't just their teachers.
And I think the clinicians did a fantastic job. All the kids were engaged, none of them were distracted. They seemed to get into it right away.
I just want to reach out to Eric and tell him, thank you for coming and sharing the message that our kids can speak up. Early recognition is critical, and I look forward to doing more things with Eric in the future.
It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message you guys have, and highly recommend it for any school that has the opportunity.
So this piece with Eric is amazing to me. It's right in line with what we think is critical for kids, and that is to know their bodies.
The kids have really gotten into having speakers here that aren't just their teachers.
And I think the clinicians did a fantastic job. All the kids were engaged, none of them were distracted. They seemed to get into it right away.
I just want to reach out to Eric and tell him, thank you for coming and sharing the message that our kids can speak up. Early recognition is critical, and I look forward to doing more things with Eric in the future.
It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message you guys have, and highly recommend it for any school that has the opportunity.
So we have, somebody zigged when they should have zagged in Montreal.
Pick it up, Dave.
Does the dump to the man who's
Dave.
not there. Don't underrun it, Matt. Yes, nice job.
Go.
Dave Baird and Matt Esser on the turn. So we have, on the sideline. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second quarter here at AA Garthwaite. This time we have the Phoenix lining up to receive. And on offense, from the near sideline, meaning from your cameras, we have Dustin Damiano, Trey Katzenbach, Sean Mott, Mike Arcata, Ethan Fortin, and that is looking like who is that there? Is that Casey Vaughn and Himalaya Mehta? Who's?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Or
man.
Greg Strauss. Let me just get out the old binocs, and we'll figure that out.
And out of bounds on the pull.
And it's Greg Strauss, number 13. So the Phoenix will get a brick here. And Ethan Fortin will be holding the bird. Ethan goes up to Himalaya Mehta, who is looking upfield to Greg Strauss. Ooh, and he had Sean Mott wide open, but I guess just thought it was a little late for the throw. Mike Arcata. He gets Sean Mott on the other side, and he scoots it in. Sean with his ridiculous hops. And Mike Arcata, Sean says, if I don't get it over here, I'll get it over there.
And the Phoenix take their first lead of the game.
How about that? 7-6, and a real nice shot. That was very relaxed.
Maybe it was good of Strauss to hold it in there and not put it over to Mott. If you don't have that shot, maybe that's not his role in the team.
Right.
You know, you fake that and you take a nice easy swing pass and let other people do their job.
Discretion is the better part of valor. It certainly was as simple on the other side as it looked on this side. If anything, Mott had an even wider margin of openness. So that was nice to see.
You cannot cover Sean Mott from one sideline to the other in this league without how big this field is.
No, it's going to be very, very difficult. He's just light, water bug quick. He is something else going around there. And we have Dave Bear with the big pull coming in at the 9-yard line, and that's Shepard picking it up, centering it to Mast, who is looking right upfield to 91 Chris Graber. Around to 84, Dave Angeletti. And he goes into the middle to number 11, Ryan Siccione, who's looking for 15, Scott Trimble again, but has to go back to Vats instead. Back to John Mast in the middle. And he comes across to Shepard, who is doubtless looking long, but Nardelli is kind of making it his mission to shut Mr. Shepard down. We have contact on the far side. Against Dave Vats, and on Dave, committed against Dave Vats by the Phoenix, who swings it to Shepard again, still with Nardelli on him. Nardelli not going to let that hammer go mostly, and then the low flick is up instead. Very close to D'd up on Vats, who is trying to find a way into the end zone, goes to John Mast, who then does an easy flick. And we'll see the number here on the near side. So that's John Mast with the flick and the Pittsburgh score to number 5 there. Oh, I'm sorry, 91. His pants are. That's Chris Graber with his first goal and John Mast with his third assist. Pittsburgh ties the game at 7. And we are now going to see, I think that's Vince Radams making his first appearance on. No, it's Greg Strauss again. I'm sorry. Greg is longer than I thought he was, taller guy than I thought. And you got some good height out there with Katzenbach, Arcata, Mehta, and Strauss. Sean Mott, Ethan Fortin, and Dustin Damiano awaiting the disc on the Philly side. And a nice pull is up that's not really going to go all that deep. Comes just inside the 20 to the 19. Dustin over to Ethan Fortin. Damiano, nice shot in the middle to Sean Mott, splitting the seam of the cup. Sean is double teamed, so dumps it back to Dustin, who swings to Fortin. Has Himalaya out on the wing, but goes back to Damiano instead. I've generally thought that, you should get to the open side of the field if you can, rather than keeping yourself stuck on the close side. Sean Mott with a little Blady backhand to Mike Arcata on the near sideline. Back to Ethan Fortin, who's going to hit Sean Mott again. Greg Strauss wide open in the flat. Sean puts a little bit of a Blady flick up that he can take where he wants. And he gives it to Trey right at the 20. Ethan Fortin, with a nice grab by Mike Arcata. Ethan Fortin, a not-so-hot low outside throw, but Mike Arcata with a nice two-handed, making sure of it and taking the little nipple plant on the far sideline there. It's always a little risky on the forearms and the chest when you do a two-handed layout, but Mike was not going to drop that goal. That was nice to see.
Man,
Phoenix go back up 8-7.
Mike has got to be a little more careful with himself out there. That's my summer league captain this year. I need him in August, okay, pal?
Steve making a pitch for Arcata to be careful. We are joined in the booth by George Harris, our wonderful originating owner here of the Phoenix, and his lovely granddaughter, Story, who I haven't seen in weeks and weeks and weeks. And we are waiting the pull from James Pollard. Nice and high and floaty, and the D should get down under that. They're not getting quite as quickly as they could, but Matt Esser on the second throw, or John Mass, so that's okay. Nardelli giving Shepard a lot of room, maybe baiting him? I don't think so. Swings back, dump to John Mass, back over to 41 over there, good old Pat Hammonds. Pat almost got knocked down by Matt Esser, the disc, his throw. Nice little fake to get Ryan Brown out of the way there and get the disc off. Shepard on the near side, back to Pat Hammonds in the middle. Pat with an easy backhand up to John Mast, who's still covered by Esser. And Mast wants a big backhand that he's going to go deep with to number 15, who gets a hand on it. Valiant effort by Scott Trimble. Nobody gets a turn on that because he got a hand on it. That was very close. Scott took that at the last possible moment. It's hard to find fault with either of them there. You got to say maybe 6 inches overthrown, but
the Thunderbirds were working it so well there. Maybe it was an unnecessary shot.
It might have been, but from the 30, you should be able to get those. Nick Patel swinging it to Nard on the near sideline, or near center, actually, we should say. Nardelli looking for a flick in the middle to Ryan Brown. And timeout we have by the Phoenix, I'm guessing, since they possess the disc. So we will put that up here for the first half. First timeout for the Philadelphia Phoenix. Now, what do you think old Trey is going to hawk these guys about in this huddle?
Well, first, this is important to get this break opportunity.
Yes.
They've been few and far between, so I think he's going to go heavy with the offensive line and hope that they can just work it in as seamlessly as they did earlier. Maybe even set up a deep shot going this way. They seem to be working. Maybe have Mott unleash something to Arcata. Himalaya Meta's been getting open and going in this direction. And I think that's exactly what he's trying to do right now, set up maybe the old D play,
right,
where the two guys in the back of the stack come underneath, and then the third to the last guy in the stack then juts deep, instantly creating a one-on-one matchup. Normally, you clear those two guys out of the back. You have that one person isolated going away. As long as you keep the disc on the field, you got a nice chunk of change you're going to be picking up right there.
And that can be one of those big as long ases, keeping the disc on the field.
As long as.
Throwers tend to get excited, and who knows what happens with that thing.
Well, and a straight-up mark will just take that away if the marker recognizes it or the defense plans on it.
It's good to see a real nice crowd here today for Philadelphia. Our first really good weather. The sun is back out here, as the weatherman, yours truly, predicted. Ethan Fortin picking up the disc in front of John Buss. And we have Katzenbach as the dump with the double team running right to Fortin. He then fakes to Katzenbach and comes up to Ben Davies instead. Nice play, Ethan. To a wide open Himalaya Meta with no mark and no stall. As he's double teamed, he pops it upfield to Mott at midfield. And thence to Dustin Damiano. Back over here to Arcata. Back dump to Trey, who gets an easy one to Ben Davies. Ben with a nice flick down low to Himalaya. Oops, it's a turn. And I'm sorry, Himalaya, we're going to give you that one because it was catchable, though it was a lousy throw. We're going to admit that. Lousy throw. Very close to a D there by Sean Mott. Does it without fouling. Mr. Kahn here on the near sideline calls the timeout for Pittsburgh. That'll be their first of the first half.
I think both teams recognize what a big point this is right now.
Yeah, evidently, right? With 2 timeouts on the same point.
Ben Davis, that was his second flick turnover on a short throw that relatively are 90% makeable.
Yeah.
And those kind of mistakes, they ruin break opportunities.
Well, they add up. I mean, what do I have in the turns column? I have 4, 6, 7 already. And I may have missed 1 or 2, but
Davis played so well against Ottawa last week.
Yeah.
And to see these 2 early turnovers, I hope it doesn't shake his confidence or maybe just get him on the horse by letting him score a goal, go deep, get his legs moving.
that's never a bad idea, get somebody involved in the other end of the play. But, of course, when you have a guy like Davies who is a known handler, or certainly has that ability, it's like, KD being able to play guard. You like to get him to be able to do that a little bit.
Sure.
That is Vince Radams down there, backing it up for the Phoenix. It looks like they took the opportunity to make some subs here. So we've got Greg Martin, Matt Esser, and 32, our new guy, Igor Smola, in there with Bear, who is now marking Mast on the disc. And play is in. We're running with just over 7 minutes. A big flick into the end zone, and that is knocked away by Greg Martin.
Greg Martin got up for that.
He sure did. I thought it was going over his hand, and he read that beautifully.
He hung in the air.
And we're having Matt Esser. Okay. I'm sorry. The ref is putting that on the line where it should be. Dave Baer is going to take it with John Mast marking him. Mast has a little length on Dave. He swings it across to Nick Patel, who's looking for somebody just to fill that flat. Please, guys. Thank you. Nice under the D backhand to Greg Martin.
Risky.
Yeah, a little risky. I think that's Casey Vaughn who shot that. No, Campanella.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Dave Baer with Nick Patel on the far side. Nick jacks it, and he's going for 91. Vince Radams, who tips it and cannot quite bring it in.
No contact called.
No contact called,
in the back of the end zone.
That's head ref J.B. Harrington back there. Vince doesn't quite come down with it, and once again, Pittsburgh ball at the goal line. That is just thrown away to Igor Smola to Nick Patel, and Nick says, look, I got to do this, and he gets it back in to Smola, who gets his first score of the game, and deservedly so.
Bookends
Nick
for
Patel,
Igor.
his second assist.
Bookends for Igor.
There you go. That's right. And Phoenix up 2 at 9-7. A really hotly contested point there. 4 turns.
It's really good to see Mr. Smola have that kind of success right there on that point. He was part of the Phoenix tryout squad early in the year, and he looked a little unpolished.
Yeah.
And for him to come out here and
We hear the boys in the booth getting all happy with this turn of events.
well, big break for the Phoenix, 9-7. Maybe now they can start putting the pressure on, and the fatigue starts catching up with the out of towners.
I think that's a distinct possibility.
Can we call them Yinzers? Is it allowed?
Yinzers,
Are we allowed to pull the Yinzers?
Well, I guess we could. That is Pittsburgh.
We have to have a Pat Stakes versus Permane Brothers debate here before this evening is over. I mean,
Oh, God, that's funny.
who puts
For
coleslaw?
Mantee, he's correct. Number 9
Who puts
with the
coleslaw
shot
on
across the
sandwiches?
middle, Pat McMullen. Oh, getting it over to, is that Shepard on the, no, I don't know who that is. Throwing little backhanded scoobers. And 76, Vince Tranquillo with the disc right now. Swinging it over to 94, John Buss, who goes deep for Tranquillo in the end zone. And John Buss with his first score to Vince down there, number 76 in the end zone. And Pittsburgh brings it to 9-8.
I mean, really, who puts coleslaw on their sandwiches?
Well,
I mean, that's a sacrilege.
honest to gosh, to tell you the truth, I used to have a
hot dog.
I used to have a barbecue sandwich in D.C. that was pulled pork barbecue with coleslaw and potato chips. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that sandwich was the bomb.
That's acceptable.
Those potato chips on top of that coleslaw and barbecue just set it off. I have too. I'm guilty as charged. I love that at home. Nick Halliday saying, I do that at home, nodding with a big grin. And Shepard, Max is going to give it the pull. For a little guy, he sure can get some torque on that disc. That thing is floating into the end zone. Really beautiful pull. Ethan Fortin over there centering it to Trey and then getting it back and then dumping it back to Trey. I'm sorry. That's it is Ethan Fortin. And Mike Arcata waiting on the wing, Himalaya Mehta in the middle. They're looking for something. Now we have Greg Strauss all alone at the 14 with Himalaya Mehta and Mike Arcata. And Mike says, let me give that to Greg Strauss for the easy goal. So we have Phoenix at 10 with Arcata his third assist and Greg Strauss his first catch and first score, aside from the D he has, bringing it up to 10-8. And joined in the booth by former Phoenix player Kevin Vanos and captain of the Trenton Takers, player on Roots of Rhythm over at Mercer League, and a big-time Pata Philly player. Glad to see him out at the game. Glad to see the stands full, as I've said several times today. It's those of you who haven't come out here to watch the very competitive Philadelphia Phoenix this year, you need to get your buns in these seats, you don't mind my saying. We've got a couple games coming up yet. The 24th, we will be a Sunday game like this one, and the 15th of July, we're going to have that makeup for the New York Empire that got lightninged and rained out as Dave Vatz brings it in the middle of the end zone on a terrific pull by James Pollard. I believe that was James, who then gets the big D, and looks like Trimble is wondering whether that might have been a strip, but and James drops it in the end zone. James, I hate to give you that turn on a shot from Nick Patel. I should say a laser from Nick Patel. And Max Shepard with his customary giant backhand gets Patel beaten. John Mast putting it up to number 91. Chris Graber for the goal.
How quickly momentum shifted.
Oh, my
on
gosh.
That one.
You got to be kidding me. Mast with his fourth assist, Graber with his second goal.
And all you can do is smile because you see the potential that Pollard has.
Yeah.
But then you see every once in a while you see the flashes of how raw that potential still is. You know?
Sure. I mean, that pass was low. We got to say that. And it was also close, which doesn't give you much time to make those adjustments. But I am sure James Pollard is the first person who will say he should have had it.
He's going to be an exciting player around
He
these
really
parts
is.
for a really long time.
It's just great to see his progress week to
absolutely,
week out here.
Absolutely.
And we have on offense our usual suspects. Mehta, Fortin, Katzenbach, Mott, Arcata, Greg Strauss, and Dustin Damiano on the far side. Looks like Trey is going to be taking the pull, which he receives easily at the goal line, up to Fortin. Looking which way to go. Nice flick out, easy to Mike Arcata, basically uncovered in the flat. And he's going large to Sean Mott, who's going to pull that in uncovered at the 5. He's down at the 3 here, 3.5, just looking for an easy flick, which he does, lefty to Ethan Fortin. So you have Ethan Fortin with the goal off of Sean Mott's assist. That's Sean's first A of the day against 3 Gs.
I think Mike Arcata gets the hockey assist on that.
Yes,
that one,
he does.
He
does.
With the big shot downfield. I mean, he's somehow found confidence in that big flick and has no problems unleashing that bad boy, does he?
Which is nice to see. I mean, as you say, you don't want to be a huck-happy squad who turns it over 70% of the time just by launching it, but you also want to be able to take it when you get it.
When you have Sean Mott running deep with 5 yards on 2 defenders, you throw that regardless.
Yeah, it's, I was an old handler myself, prone to a blind backhand huck on occasion, I will admit. And Shawnee Mott is one of those targets very hard for us to resist, even when he's not as open as you might think. And that one is out the back. Wow, nice pull. Who was that? Greg Martin? Who pulled that thing? I wasn't paying attention, but it was monster. Was that Radams who got that? Who had the pull? Come on, guys, help me out. Pittsburgh walking it up to the 20-yard brick. We're going to have Dave Baer, Mark and John Mast on the disc. John puts a high floater out to Max Shepard, who fakes that big backhand around. Oh, Nardelli, and we have somebody who didn't zig when they should have. The disc falls to earth. Nard gets it on the near sideline at the 6 and pops an easy flick in to Ryan Weaver for his first point of the game. And that's nice to see Nardelli doing his usual destruction out there and actually get a point other than a D, which of course we expect a lot of Eric, from Eric to get a lot of D's. That is.
But sure were right. I mean, somebody zigged when they should have zagged.
Yeah.
And that disc just fell harmlessly to the turf.
Yeah.
That's pick it up and go, and it's just another easy score.
That's one of the great joys of a defensive line is to see the disc settle to earth gently at the 12 or so.
Just right on the goal line.
Yeah. So this time we've got Greg Martin holding the disc to pull. So this time I know, but he's going upwind. We won't expect it to be quite as far. And he will shut me up by getting it up to about the 6. Caught in the air there by Dave Vatz and shot to John Mast at the 21. He pops back to Shepard. And I think we're going to see just Vatz, Mast, and Shepard handling here while the rest of these guys get out and try and make some noise. David Angeletti. You have, again, Mr. Trimble over there of the Scott variety. John Mast taking it on the far sideline. Dave Baer. And it's thrown away here. That's a John Mast throwaway, his first. But really a drop to earth that just shouldn't happen. Dave Baer picking it up, taking his time a little, letting the stack set, and doing an easy drop to Nick Patel and then back to Dave. Ryan Brown coming out in the wing there to give them a shot at the flat. Then it's up in the middle to Vaughn, and Vaughn shoots it over to Esser at the 12. Matt's going to be cautious here. He's not going to have any more throwaways, is my prediction. The announcer's curse potential notwithstanding. Matt Esser is back a little shoots it up to Baer at the 10, and he gets it over to Ryan Brown, who's on the goal line, just waiting to do something. Goes back to Dave Baer. And Dave to Nick on the 2. Okay, there we go. And we have Nick to Greg Martin. So Nick Patel with his 3rd assist, and Greg Martin with his 2nd goal.
Really good patience on that point by the Phoenix, making sure they quarterback that into the goal. But even more important, these last two offensive possessions by the Thunderbirds have been turned over on dump passes that just were merely miscommunication or easy swings.
Right.
That just hit the turf. And when you're a skeleton squad like this and you're fighting tooth and nail,
yeah,
you're scratching, you're clawing, and you find those turnovers can be backbreaking.
They really can. And of course, as Steve and I were saying earlier, you've got to expect in a game to time, which for you non-ultimate players out here, a 48-minute game is so much longer than your standard 15 as the winning points game. That's evident, obviously, by the fact that the home score has 13 goals and we still 2:20 left in the half. We have the second timeout for Pittsburgh there. Thank you, Stevie, for checking that, and thank you, Pittsburgh sideline, for letting us know. You can tell it's a timeout when the refs are tossing and spreading discs out again. Jimmy Pollard with the B waiting to pull. I wonder if he ever goes by Jimmy.
We'll have to ask him.
Yeah, we will.
Maybe
We
JP.
will.
Maybe
We
he's
will.
a JP guy.
He's I had a nice chat with him after the game last week where I teased him about swinging at that one on D, and he shook his head.
Well, he's learning these lessons.
Oh,
the
he
hard
is.
way,
He is
but
very
he's learning
quickly, and he
them.
didn't. He was very sweet about an old duffer like me walking up and talking to him about it.
Yeah, most of these guys are very genuinely good people.
They really are.
Good-hearted,
It's
and they'll put up with you and me talking smack about our day.
absolutely. It's a terrific
for
lineup
weeks.
for that. We have Radams out there again with James Pollard, Nard, of course, and Igor is out there again. This is a nice defensive lineup for the Phoenix. Max Shepard trying to get around Nard again. He goes with a big floaty backhand. The Trimble is going to pull in with Radams on him. And Radams with that length stopping a backhand that Trimble can step out of bounds to throw. Pat Hammond's on the far side, reining it in there against, I think that's Vaughn over there. Or no, Max Shepard frustrated, not seeing. That's Hammond's. I beg your pardon. What do we have there? What's the issue? Oh, it looks like a pick. Must have been. Well, it's some foul on Pittsburgh, and I didn't see contact. Did you, Steve?
I didn't see any contact, but it looked as if that would be a pick call. Yes, by the referee's signal, that would be a pick call.
There we go. Trimble at the 21 with a big lefty flick, and that is going to get knocked away by Igor Smola. Once again, coming in here to – that's his second D play of the game. And we have timeout Phoenix, their second and final timeout of the half. So with 1:08 left, both teams have burned both timeouts. Of course it makes sense to use them. So now we're going to see what Philly does. We, of course, are approaching the 30-second mark at 1:08, where my broadcast partner will be devoting 100% of his attention to the clock.
At least he's supposed to be.
Yeah, at least he's supposed to be. But, of course, neither of us, being the old players we are, can avoid just watching the great play. Now, let's see who we have out on this.
You have Mott, you have Trey, you have Dustin Damiano, you got Meta. All the usual suspects are out there right now.
Right, Greg Strauss is joining them on the O-line. And Dustin Damiano, of course. And on D for Pittsburgh, we're going to have Steve May with his length out there. We're going to have Miles Cooper. We got number 10, or I guess that's 11, Ryan Ciccione. What is that? No, that's 19. I beg your pardon. Jordan Robarge. Haven't heard his name much today or mentioned it. Jordan is, I think, from the highlight reels I had watched, Jordan is an all-around guy. He can handle, he can go deep, and we just haven't heard much from him today. I wonder if he's 100% healthy. We have Liam Rosen out there, and Mr. May is going to be taking the back line, preventing any big hucks. And, of course, we have Anthony Kahn as well. And Mike Arcata is already loose, cannot bring it in. Dag nab. The clock is running down, under 55 now. Pittsburgh a little casual about picking up the disc. Maybe they don't know how much time is left. 45, I guess he does. I think that's Mr. Kahn with the disc on the far side. And he's going to Pat Hammonds, or no, that's not Hammonds, I'm sorry. It's hard to recognize these guys from faces at this distance with the sun now in my eyes. Bus with the disc now, coming up here to Miles Cooper on the near side at the 15. He dumps it out to Anthony Kahn again. Oh, and Kahn misthrows, and Ethan Fortin, Johnny on the spot, gets it at the 3. We have 15 seconds. Sean Mott into Trey Katzenbach. He's got time. He knows it. He looked. Greg Strauss to Sean Mott. Sean Mott to Damiano. Oh, what in the world? Trey Katzenbach very frustrated, wondering what He was shooting it to Mott, but it was short. I think Mott was supposed to take that and dive into the end zone. Anyway, with a 13-9 lead, it's certainly not the end of the world, but not the way the Phoenix wanted to end that half, given the opportunities they had. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are going to take our beloved 15-minute halftime break, or 12, or whatever it's going to be today, depending on the halftime activities. Looks like it's going to be 10 minutes. And we will rejoin you anon for the third quarter. Thanks again for being here with us. And the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds visiting the Philadelphia Phoenix. Talk to you soon.
I loved that you guys talk about cancer awareness, and it's more body awareness and knowing their own bodies.
I think Eric is a wonderful way to bring this into school. You come with a complete program.
The information is good. It's presented in a very professional way. The instructors do an excellent job.
I think the kids overall had a great time. I can see from their responses that they wanted us to get some more ultimate discs in the school, and that we'll be playing all the way into the spring and summer.
We really appreciated you coming out. We love the message you guys send.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Eric, for coming out to the Pittsburgh area. It's a great experience for our kids.
Thank you for sharing your message with the kids. We really appreciate the energy that you've brought, and really encourage anybody else who might be interested in this program, bring them on in.
Ooh, somebody zigged when they should have zagged in Montreal.
Pick it up, Dave.
Does the dump to the man who's not there. Don't underrun it, Matt. Yes, nice job.
Go.
Dave Fair to Matt Esser on the turn. Second. Oh! Very nice D by Himalaya Mehta. We got to give him that one for stretching out there and knocking it down. Gets the disc back for the Phoenix. A little scuba from Trey to Ethan Peck, back across to Mehta, who is rewarded with an easy flick to Scotty Zhu, who takes contact on the catch. Arcata came in at the last. But Scott has a nice dump in Trey Katzenbach. Ethan Peck out on the wing with a laser to Mike Arcata, who finally gets that disc and the assist to Himalaya Mehta for the goal.
Sorry, Mike Arcata's my roommate.
It's critical, and I look forward to doing more things with Eric in the future.
It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message you guys have, and highly recommend it for any school that has the opportunity.
So this piece with Eric is amazing to me. It's right in line with what we think is critical for kids, and that is to know their bodies.
The kids have really gotten into having speakers here that aren't just their teachers.
And I think the clinicians did a fantastic job. All the kids were engaged, none of them were distracted. They seemed to get into it right away.
I just want to reach out to Eric and tell him, thank you for coming and sharing the message that our kids can speak up. Early recognition is critical, and I look forward to doing more things with Eric in the future.
It's been great for us as a staff and for our students to experience the message you guys have, and highly recommend it for any school that has the opportunity.
So this piece
that you guys talk about cancer awareness, and it's more about body awareness and knowing their own bodies.
And I think Eric is a wonderful way to bring this into school. You come with a complete program.
The information is good. It's presented in a very professional way. The instructors do an excellent job.
I think the kids overall had a great time. I can see from their responses that they wanted us to get some more ultimate discs in the school, and that we'll be playing all the way into the spring and summer.
We really appreciated you coming out. We love the message you guys send.
Yeah, thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Eric, for coming out to the Pittsburgh area. It's a great experience for our kids.
Thank you for sharing your message with the kids. We really appreciate the energy that you've brought, and I really encourage anybody else who might be interested in this program to bring them on in.
Yeah, I loved
Welcome back to the third quarter of today's Philadelphia Phoenix Pittsburgh Thunderbirds game. I'm joined in the booth, as always, with the voice of the Phoenix, Bailey Saul. Take it away,
Thank you, Stevie. And this time, of course, the Phoenix pulling from the other side. Greg Martin once again, big booming high backhand coming down at the 4 to Dave Vatz. Up to John Mast, who gets it over to Scott Trimble in the middle. Trimble's been sort of everywhere today for Pittsburgh. John Mast again. A brief conversation with Pat Hammonds at the half. Mast goes deep for Vatz. Vatz is all alone, and he takes it. Nice shot, Dave. So John Mast to Dave Vatz, opening second half scoring.
Pittsburgh with a big hold put out of the locker
That's
room.
Mast's 5th assist. Pittsburgh 1-0 second half, 13-10 for the game score, trailing the Phoenix by 3.
We had quite the visitation in the booth here at halftime.
Yeah, it's an all-star cast. The Eulenbergs are in town.
Quite some dignitaries sitting on top of our box as we speak right now.
Yep. It's a great spot up there on top of our broadcast booth. We have a stairway that runs up the back of it.
It's like the Miller Lite box at the lake.
They're way up high.
Maybe we can get the Wissahickon,
So,
the Wissahickon box up there.
Ethan Fortin looking to get it up to Mike Arcata. Does so with a nice flick. Arcata coming in across the middle to Himalaya Mehta. Back to Mike Arcata. Mehta trying to bring him upfield a little. Ethan Fortin with a nice shot to Dustin Damiano with an easy flick to Sean Motts.
A nice shot by Dustin.
And that's a tough cover for Shayna Reprimand, who actually does a pretty decent job. But, you know, Mott is just so quick getting away there. And we will give Dustin Damiano his first assist of the game. That was a great throw. Dustin sort of looked middle, I thought, for a second there to bring everybody focused in the middle, and then just almost blind just put that shot out there to Sean.
Same third, right up the line. Not the easiest throw.
No.
But he made it sure.
An easy one to overthrow, too, in your excitement. And, you know, again, throwers, when they see open receivers, they always get excited. It's the nature of the game. If they're not excited, you probably don't want them out there. I think that's Greg Martin again. We got James Pollard out on D this time with Max Shepard starting things off. Vatz with the third throw. Oh, very close Nick Patel was to getting that. John Mast is looking for a sideline flick. Greg Martin says no. And Trimble now with the disc on the near side under James Pollard. A big high flick. Matt Esser's going to need to grow a couple inches to get that one. But that was a nice shot by Trimble. And I'm just waiting to see who it was who roped that in.
Number 84.
84, thank you, which is Dave Angeletti, his second goal. And Scott Trimble, number 15, with the bomb to get him.
Just a beautiful throw to space there. There's nothing Esser could do. It was just both the cut and the throw were just spot on.
Right, and Matt was not only, 4 inches shorter than his opponent on that play. He was about 4 feet behind him as the disc left. So, which happens. I mean, that's no slam on Matt trying to stop the inside thing too. And we now have 14-11 with the first score for Pittsburgh in the second half. Sean Mott with a big bladey flick to Mike Arcata, who fights off his defender. That looks like Dave Angeletti again, either Dave or Steve May.
I think it was Mike Arcata.
No, Mike Arcata caught it, but on Pittsburgh, I think it's Steve May. I'm sorry. Yeah, Mike Arcata with a nice catch. Who threw that to him?
I think it was Mott.
That was Sean, right, on the far side. It looked awful casual, but it seemed to do the job.
They're developing a lot of trust between themselves, and you're seeing it as the season progresses. That Mott and Mike Arcata are starting to have a little bit of connection. There's a lot of trust between Esser and Dave Baird, for example. You're seeing these guys develop a lot of chemistry, and it's going to only benefit them as the season goes on. And let me tell you something about the Phoenix. They're going to be in this playoff race after this weekend.
They are.
They're going to be a little bit of a dark horse, but they
are definitely in it.
They have a shot to get in it.
The third-place team is only 4-4, and the Phoenix were 3-5 when they started the day with Dave Vatz in the middle.
And the Breeze are going to Toronto. That's no easy task.
No. And Max Shepard, Nick Patel guarding him now, who doesn't have the length on Shepard that Nard did. Ryan Brown working on Trimble over there. And we got Pat Hammonds back with Trey Kotzen back on him. Max Shepard again, Nick Patel right here in front of us. And Max goes with that big flick. Matt Esser's going to get that.
He just blew off.
He just catches it.
Open underneath cut and took a deep shot.
Yeah, and that gets irritating if you're that underneath cut after a while. Max is, he knows they're undermanned. He's trying to get things done quickly. Pittsburgh is trying to stay in this with their long game a little, I think. Vince Radham's on the far side, putting it to Patel, and that was a Patel throwaway. Boom, his third of the game. Up to Greg Martin, who really just had no chance, no shot at that.
I would recommend that Nick take off the headband at this point. Do something a little different. Maybe put your change in your left-hand pocket or something. I don't know.
Pat Hammonds just trying to get the disc out of his hands, which he finally does to John Mast, who brings it over to Max Shepard on the near sideline. Yeah, Nick, thankfully it's not really hurt his team terribly. Big hammer from Max Shepard to Dave Vatz. Holy cats. Max Shepard to Dave Vatz. Holy cats. That's Max's second assist. I was giving it to John Mast. And David Vatz. Where are you, Vatz?
That was an absolute dime cross-field hammer.
Yeah, it really was. Number 4. That's Vatz's third goal. Hear that, Isaac? Dave's got 3. And he's walking over to the sideline, taking a break. We have 15, Scott Trimble. I believe that's who that is. No, not Scott. 19. Jordan Robar is chatting with the team as he backs off the field.
Interestingly enough, for the Thunderbirds, they've scored as many goals already in this quarter with just under 3 minutes gone as they scored in the entire second quarter.
Huh.
3 goals.
Yeah. Sean Mott on the near side. He gets that. Oh, he's got Himalaya Mehta in front of Mr. May. But Mr. May has the length, and Sean put that a little too floaty. We're going to give that to Sean Mott for not noticing your matchup. Himalaya's great out front, but that's the tallest guy on the Phoenix, and he made short work of that disc. I think that's Steve May, is that? Yes, Steve May, 83. Really nice play. And Pittsburgh throws it away. Trey Katzenbach picking it up at the 22. Little bladey thing to Sean at the 8, who finally gets it to Himalaya Mehta. So we'll give you that one, Shawnee Mott, with the assist to Himalaya for the goal. And we now have Philadelphia with 16. So they have 3 this half. And Pittsburgh with 12. So they have 3 this half, too, because they only had 9 at the half. So this half we're tied. Not that that matters, but just to see the pace of play and how Pittsburgh is holding up long term. I think, sure, it's nice to have a whole third line, but 4 subs for one game, even a long game, should be workable. And talking with Pat at halftime, Pat Hammonds, that is coach of the Thunderbirds, he said they've got nothing to lose out here. It's the end of their weekend. They're going to work as hard as they can. They also really love this field, as most visiting teams do. nobody gets to play on grass this lush anywhere else. I think probably in the league, certainly in the East, but definitely the best field in terms of length of the grass. You get great footwork. There's not a lot of dirt patches that you get, grit in your arms if you lay out for him. Dave Vatz here in the middle of the field, looking and moving well. Scott Trimble close to us now, getting under Campanella there. And now we have Max Shepard at the 20, not something a D coach really likes seeing. Ooh, nice little high for Vatz, but he pulls it in pretty easily, and Max Shepard is going to take it at the goal line, pops it in.
I did not think he was going to be able to get up for that.
Yeah, he apparently has some vert.
He climbed the ladder there, for sure.
He did. And Dave, knowing that, put the pass really – he really looked like he was letting them fight it out, but I think he's got to be pretty confident in Max's abilities to put it right in that spot. Coming off the field with a nice grin.
The Thunderbirds still have some energy here, Bailey.
It seems they do. They are not looking fatigué, shall we say.
What?
Tired, French, tired. I know it's not a French team, or Canadian, but so there again, this is not Tranquillo. We have Anthony Kahn pulling. It didn't go real far this time to the 16. Dustin to Fortin. Ethan is and he jacks it. Mike Arcata deep with
Mike's
Kahn on him.
Mike's got it.
But Mike has got the Mike just pulls that in and gives it the old knee spike.
No question about it.
Ethan Fortin to Mike Arcata. And Pittsburgh may be starting to pull stuff out a little here. That's 4 each this half. They're trading goals rather quickly. I mean, got 7 minutes left. They've already scored 8 goals this quarter. Pat Hammond stretching his hamstring on the sideline. Hammond's hammy. You're going to make sure it stays loose. And then the other one. These guys are reaching the point here where it could begin to be a factor. But they seem to be using most everybody. So, what the heck? McMullen is the smallest Pittsburgh player I've been missing handling a lot on the D. I think that's him who just popped the disc to John Mast. And in the middle, we have Chris Graber. Who puts it out, and it gets tipped by Trimble and caught. And then he pops it to 94, John Buss, for his first goal in the end zone. That was a nice stick with it on Scott Trimble's part for the Thunderbirds. Graber scores. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody is correcting me there. Thank you so much. Not John Buss. My apologies, John. Got to take that one away, and that was Graber getting it back. So we are very fortunate to have a Pittsburgh member up here in the end zone scoring for us too and helping me out with this multitasking situation. And once again, Mr. Kahn holding the disc ready to pull. Dustin Damiano, Trey Katzenbach, Ethan Fortin, and that's Greg Strauss there with Arcata and Mott and Meta. Strauss here on the near side. Ethan looking for someone, dumps to Trey, is going to swing to Damiano, fakes to Meta, and it looks like there's a 3-man cup, maybe 4-man there by Pittsburgh.
It's a 1-3-3.
1-3-3, yeah. The one is chasing, right.
There's a wall of 3 guys, 2 guys playing behind them as wings, and then a deep.
I'm not sure I like that because Katzenbach, they just have to see these guys out here on the wings, get it to Strauss, or go through the middle like that, and then boom, you've beat most of the team. Mike Arcata with an easy shot in the end zone to Sean Mott, is that? Yes? Yes, Mike Arcata to Sean Mott.
Like you said,
should have known the way he held his hands out.
Like you said, Bailey, you get it right through the middle on that, and you are off to the races.
Yep. You bust the cup, as we liked to say back in Summer League. You get it past those 3 guys and the chaser, you only got 3 guys left, and typically you got 5 of your own people out there. So that's a nice set of odds with the numbers. Mike Arcata, Mr. GM, is tearing it up, and Sean Mott right behind him, each of them with 5 goals. Mike with 4 assists, Sean with 3.
And Mike's having probably the best game that he's had in the AUDL this season so far.
Certainly looking that way. The pull catches a little bit of a breeze, comes down at the 17 or 18. 17 or 18 to Max Shepard there. And he and John Mast working it a little with Pat Hammonds on the far side. Max is putting up that big flick. And there's a little bit of jostling. Oh, they're going to say no. Substantial contact. You have Dan is right on that.
That was a lot of contact.
Well, there was some jostling, but I think it didn't knock either guy out of the play. And the Pitts receiver had their hand on it. He didn't seem to complain about it. So Nardelli with the disc here on the near side. And he pops it out to Casey Vaughn. Ryan Weaver, rather. Oh, look at that catch. Igor Smola.
Full extension. Beautiful
That was
goal.
1.5 inches off the ground. Maximum. Not that I can tell from here, but that was a heck of a catch, ladies and gentlemen.
And that was a Phoenix break.
Yeah. And that was, who threw that to him?
I did not see because of it was right in the pillar of my view right here.
Yeah.
In the booth, there's one spot I can't see. So whoever threw it was right in that area. So I cannot help you here. But Igor Smola, the guys in the booth from the Delaware
Igor
302
Smola
are
caught
totally psyched about Igor going out and getting that disc. They totally thought it was down.
48, Ryan Weaver. It was Ryan. Thank you very much. I don't want to miss that. Yeah, he's right in front of me. For Pete's sake. And that pull is going to settle into the end zone. Dave Vatz will take it right there. Shoot it over to John Mast, who pops it up to 84. Dave Angeletti and Scott Trimble faking the sideline. Vince Radams, who is a little taller than Scott, working on him. Max Shepard, Vince on the quick double team. Over to John Mast and back to Shepard, who has eluded Greg Martin momentarily. He puts up the big flick.
That's gonna be
and James Pollard not going to get there, but neither is Chris Graber, unfortunately. So we're going to have to give Max Shepard another turn on that. That's his 4th. And we have Greg Martin with a big backhand that is going to be his first turn. I'm very sorry, Greg. Just one.
It is hard.
James Pollard trying to get that, but he just had no chance.
When you see James Pollard as a thrower, when you see James Pollard with 10 yards on his guy,
Just
waving
put
his
it up.
arm,
Put
right?
it
But
up.
just get it up. But you get so anxious and your mechanics
Yes.
get all off.
Well, he did make sure to beat the D. Unfortunately, he beat James as well. And on that kind of throw, he's just got to pop it up in the air and let it be up, Just let Pollard determine when to go get that, and he just takes the D. That time he caught it, 2 hands, back to Greg Martin, pops it up on the far side, and that is a nice shot to Nardelli in the end zone from, I think that's 48 again, or is that Campanella? Who was that? I know I saw an 8 there somewhere. '86, Casey Vaughn. Thank you. That was Casey Vaughn.
And I think the Thunderbirds are starting to feel it a little bit, Bailey.
Yeah.
6 goals. on the road. Done 2 consecutive
So what
breaks by the
what did I
Phoenix.
say there? Now I'm losing my place here. That was Casey Vaughn caught that. Pat Hammond's on the near sideline. Jumping it back to McMullen. Trimble on the far sideline, or not sideline, but on the far side of the field, and he turfs it.
That had trouble from the get-go.
Yeah, it just didn't look good even on the release. That was that Greg Martin who threw that? Yes, I think it was. And Casey Vaughn, 96. Casey Vaughn is 96. There we go. Okay, Dan Spicer getting Ryan Brown in position. And that tosses it to Dave Bear over his head, but Dave just runs it down. And again, we have over there Ryan Weaver on the far sideline pulling it back to Bear. And a backhand that is tipped away. Campanella.
Both players bidding.
And that was Anthony Kahn with the layout D. That's a heck of a play, Mr. Kahn. Campanella, I'm not going to give him the turnover because it was on target, but what a play. And we have McMullen getting up to Pat Hammonds. We have a timeout called. Pittsburgh, this is their first of their first of the second half. With 2:18 left in the third and the score 20-14. So we have 7-5 this half. Pittsburgh starting to feel it, I think. There is the timeout flag. The little yellow ball. And we do seem to have the flags this week. And the D we have with Radams, Martin. You got Casey Vaughn out there, and Nardelli, of course, coming to us. Patel just off the handlers with Damiano on the disc. Nick is the closest guy. And Matt Esser with Radams playing deep. They've got a hoe stack going on here at the 35 with the disc at the 15. For you youngsters, we have 2 cutters in close and a hoe stack across the field horizontally that can go either way. You have a cut there by Chris Graber deep and then pop back into John Mast. Takes it back again and gives it up to Max, who puts a big hammer cross field to Trimble. And Scott takes it, not even looking at the line. He knows to lift his feet and scoot in there. And again, you know, you have a 4 to 5 inch height advantage over Matt Esser, who is there. But on a nicely thrown hammer like that, it's one of the reasons handlers use it, because it comes down from straight above you, and there's not a path that can be interrupted, you know, that's closer to the ground, if you will. It drops right on top of the head of the receiver. And when you have a receiver like Trimble, who has obvious reading skills, it's not going to be hard for him to win that over a shorter player. And that is Mr. Trimble's first goal and Mr. Shepard's third assist. And Pittsburgh gets back within 5 at 20:15. 2 minutes, no seconds left in the third. Nice pull coming to Ben Davies, whom we haven't seen in a couple series. Out to Ethan Fortin at the 20. And Ethan just jacks it to Sean Mott, who I don't think is going to get there, but yes, he is.
You never think he's going to get there. He's so fast.
I say that just to motivate him to do it. It's the reverse announcer's curse thing, you know.
I don't have confidence that my friend.
That's
can
where we
possibly
go.
Get there.
Right. Ethan,
there he
I have
goes.
all the confidence. I just say that to Sean. And Ethan, again, there's another, as you say, Steve, a great shot to space. Ethan puts it out in that quadrant where nobody else is going to be quicker than Sean Mott will be. So you let Sean take it. Sure they do. We getting under that, not me, so we got to let her make that call. The disc is blown in. The clock is started. John Mast over to Shepard. Shepard with a big backhand. Dave Vatz is wide open. You can't let him do that. Come on, Casey. Max Shepard to Dave Vatz. And we got Dave Vatz is going to be cited for disc abuse here in a moment with his kick spike. Just kidding, Dave. I know you're having fun, but don't damage the plate. Okay, bud?
Remember when we used to get in trouble for that?
Oh, hey, listen, I had to tee up my own son for that in my first season reffing. I did. Noah caught the goal, and he put this backhand straight up about 150 feet. And when it came down, it was tacoed so badly we couldn't use it. I had to team misconduct foul. He looks at me like, what? I said, yeah, dude, you can't taco the disc.
Was that the most you've ever punished Noah?
No, that was the most I've ever punished him in an ultimate game. But, of course, I mean, people will laugh that I reffed a game my son was in. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I was looking for that kid. Because though I love him like a son, he ain't going to cheat on the old man and get away with it. Guarantee you that.
The Saul family has a lot of morals.
We are very, very competitive in this sport in every respect. Greg Strauss dumping back to Dustin Damiano, who's working it with Ethan Fortin and looking for just a little, other help maybe. Trey Katzenbach sensing this. Greg Strauss, thank you, coming back for a nice 8-yard gain. He thought about that long flick, but then thought better of it. Dustin Damiano, easy backhand out to Mike. Big money Arcata on the far side. To Meta in the middle, back to Trey. Trey will be judicious, I am sure. Ooh, he turns it over. I think he got contacted before it left his hand, and he's looking for that and not getting it. Stacy's giving the wiggle hands. What is that? She is giving it. Okay. So that, I believe that what that's signifying is that the defender hit the disc while it was still in Katzenbach's hand. Oh, 12. He's looking for 12 seconds. And thank you, JB. There we go. Trey Katzenbach is going to take the disc at the 20.
On the release.
And then take 10, right, on the release at the end of the third quarter here. JB blows it in. It's in play. Now the clock starts. Fortin, easy flick to Meta, 8 seconds. And looking for the end zone, not finding it. He puts a big bladey flick up. Who comes down with that but Dustin Damiano with a nice grab and still 2 seconds left. Himalaya Meta, my broadcast partner, nailing the clock there. And Dave Hammonds comes out to give a high five to Dustin Damiano on that play. Rightly so, with a great D. And Repperman apparently was out on that. I haven't called her name much. She's been working in and out of the of play seamlessly here. We don't have any points for her, but she is certainly not being beaten or getting used out here defensively in any way. It's nice to see a woman making the team on merit alone, and I'm sure we'll see more of that. I know several women from my summer league who played A-League at the summer league and also played club on men's teams who belonged there every bit as much as any of the men, and it's a great thing to see. We have Sean Mott pulling. That's a little bit of a switch, but he gets a really nice one up. Shepard's going to take it at the 4, and he's got no one back. He's just bombing it. It gets off just before the horn, and it is on the release anyway, so there you go. and it is tipped down by Vince Radums, tallest guy out there, as it should be, and nobody complaining. We have the end of the quarter, a 6-goal lead for the home team at 23-17, and have to say we had some pregame prognostications. We'll get into that a little for you in the fourth quarter. Right now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, our sponsors. Thank you, Pat Gariantes. Take it away. So we have somebody zigged when they should have zagged in Montreal.
Pick it up, Dave.
Does the dump to the man who's
Dave.
not there. Don't underrun it, Matt. Yes, nice job.
Go.
Dave Baird and Matt Esser on the turn. Very nice D by Himalaya Mehta. We got to give him that one for stretching out there and knocking it down. Gets the disc back for the Phoenix. A little scuba from Trey to Ethan Peck, back across to Mehta, who is rewarded with an easy flick to Scotty Zhu, who takes contact on the catch. Arcata came in at the last second. Very nice D by him on the sideline, and he jacks it for Sean. Is that Sean Mott? Yes.
Yeah.
With the diving catch. This is what we've come to expect from him.
Yeah.
Sean Mott is a bit of a theatrical player. I think he could have had that either way, but it's fun to see him lay out.
Well, and he knows how to land so that he doesn't hurt it, but his focus is always going to be on catching the disc. Ethan Peck. And we are back with you, ladies and gentlemen, for the commencement of quarter number 4 here at AA Garthwaite Stadium.
It seems like number 92 for Pittsburgh. You have the roster over there. He was given an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty by the officiating crew there in the third quarter, and that will be marked down on the scoreboard. And it's rare to get on a sportsmanlike, and they called it on integrity, according to J.B. Harrington. It's just a little news coming from J.B. coming up to the booth there between quarters. I'm not sure where that incident quite occurred in the third quarter.
And how is it called on integrity? Meaning he complained about an integrity? Interesting.
I guess he complained about – I'm not quite sure how that works.
Must have become abusive or something. That's interesting. It's, you got to go some to get these guys to call a team misconduct on something like that. Pittsburgh pulling to the – that's interesting, Steve. Thank you. I'm going to be trying to find out about that. Ben Davies back in the offense. Ethan Fortin with a nice cup-breaking shot that Himalaya Mehta has 3 chances at and just drops. And Himalaya, we're going to have to give you that turn, my boy. And McMullen back here over to Trimble. No, I'm sorry. 94 is John Buss. And McMullen again in front of Trey Katzenbach. Not a big guy. Blady flick is intercepted. And that is McMullen's first turn. Arcata picks it off. Arcata with the D. Himalaya Mehta with the huck that's not going to get in the end zone. So we will wait for that, and it's Mike Arcata to Trey Katzenbach. That's a multifaceted play there. We have Trey taking the goal. We have Arcata with the D as well as the assist, his 5th against 5 goals.
I'm telling you, Mike Arcata's having the best game I've seen him play for
a hell of a game,
the
isn't
Phoenix so far. I mean, he's
wow.
He's out there just balling right now, and it's really good to see. Last year he had a really bad back injury that cut his year short.
Yeah.
And I personally thought he was having a Rookie of the Year type of campaign up until that back injury. And he really rehabilitated in the offseason and got himself really prepared for this professional year. I mean,
he had 2 guys when the disc came down, but it was really perfect for Pat.
Just just put it out on a platform and let him go get it.
That's right. That sweet flick that's bending in a little to the left. Pat Patel almost gets D'd. Matt Esser. Interesting O-line here to Ben Davies. We're getting some new looks on O here to get people some work. We got a little contact. Little bouncy bounce on Ben. That's going to be a center on the goal line as Ryan Ciccione. Anyway, score now 25-19 and 7:50 left in the fourth. So we're not quite halfway through the fourth. The sun is down. The coolness has arrived. The lights are much more in play now.
Paley has his shirt back on. Thank goodness for all of us here in the booth.
I knew you were going to get to that sooner or later, you rat Beso.
I was saving it, man.
Yeah.
I was saving it.
Was so hot up here before. Jimmy Pollard with the big backhand coming in at the 4 to Pat Hammonds. John Mast up at the 16. Little easy backhand out to Dave Vatz. And Vatz coming back to Trimble. Looking for Shepard, who gets out of the middle there. And instead he throws a big floaty thing to John Mast. But Trimble, again, a guy with experience to put it out there and just let Mast run under it. Max with that big cross-field turnover hammer. Max Shepard, rather. That was Max Shepard, on his 5th turnover. Oh, wasn't it? Was Mast? It was Shepard, yeah. It was Shepard. I got that one right for a change. Thank you. We have 48-42 out there. Ryan Weaver to Dave Bear. Back over to 85. Mike Campanella, who is working this point on offense. And Ryan Weaver, again, back to Dave Bear, who puts it low to Matt Esser, puts a high bladey flick. Just caught the right way by Campanella, just sliding under it. And he'll pop that into 96 there. Casey Vaughn for the goal with Campanella and the assist. And another score for the Phoenix, who now have 26.
When you're chucking cross-field hammers and they're being completed, it's very uplifting. When you're chucking cross-field hammers and they're falling incomplete to no one, it's very
tough.
Heartbreaking.
It's very tough. It is heartbreaking, yeah.
So the Pittsburgh's got to – they're not out of it, but it's getting close to that time.
Yeah, I think it's – I'm not risking an announcer's curse here to say I think the Phoenix have this in hand. They've just got too much energy left, too many wheels to put out there. And you can see they're switching it up on the O-line. They already have as many goals as they did in the first half, and we got 6:40 left, ladies and gentlemen. The Phoenix have given up on those turnovers that they did in the first half. I'm not sure that was a
roller.
Nard sort of loopy runaround wild flick roller that got to the 21 of the Thunderbirds. Max Shepard taking it in at the 36, fakes the hammer over Patel, and runs back here to 94 John Buss, who just gets it in. And we're going to get Vince Radom on a little contact there on Robarge. Radom's going to give them 10 yards. JB blows it in. Robarge with an easy backhand to Max Shepard, who is a little taller than he looks. A little taller than Nick Patel as well. Blind backhand drop to McMullen, who pops it up to Khan on the far side. And an easy floaty hammer that Max Shepard just ropes in. Uh-oh. This is not going to be good for Pittsburgh. He's good. Is he holding his shoulder or his knee? So right there we have Mr. Khan of the Anthony variety with the assist to Max Shepard, his 3rd goal against 6 assists. Max is lighting it up here for Pittsburgh today. And that makes it 26-21, yes, or 20? 21.
26-20.
26-20? Okay. Yep. Pittsburgh. Okay, yeah, I had 19.
26-20.
Okay, there we go. So, yeah, I'm
sorry if I sound distracted, but I'm trying to pull up to get a score on the Breeze Rush game. Which has major playoff implications for us.
Yeah.
If the Phoenix hold on here and the Breeze fall in Toronto, then we have ourselves a little bit of a race, especially with the Empire reschedule coming in on the 15th.
DC was 4-4, and that's going OB at about the 10. Went out at probably the 20 or so, but it's going to be a brick. Ethan Fortin centering the disc with, you have Trey and Dustin back there with Ethan. He swings out to Damiano, pops it up to Greg Strauss. And this is a situation where the Phoenix can just work it. They don't need to score right away. They just need to burn clock.
Meanwhile, in Toronto, Bailey, 10:42 left in the fourth quarter. The Rush, 20, the Breeze, 19,
Ooh.
and the Breeze are pulling.
How about that? Trey Katzenbach, little loopy flick in there to Dustin. Damiano fakes. He's double teamed for a moment.
Nice cut.
And then,
beautiful Ethan.
Oh, Ethan Fortin with a nice shot to Himalaya Mehta. Himalaya's second goal and Ethan Fortin's 5th assist. And the Phoenix's 27th goal of this game. And we had Shayna Repperman out there, part of that double team, working very hard on D and acquitting herself well. Pittsburgh, that's a point right there on offense for the Phoenix. When you get in that kind of flow, the defense has to be perfect to the point of anticipating one or two throws ahead to be in the position to take something away. But the Phoenix were being smart about where they put the disc there. And instead of forcing something that's semi-covered, just going to the open person. We have Jimmy Pollard about to pop that big backhand. He put it a little further up in the air this time, coming into Vats at about the 8. He centers to John Mast. And we have Max Shepard upfield a little bit in the middle. Pat Hammonds is back with Mast and Vats. Shepard is kind of a popper there with number 11, Ryan Ciccione on the other side. I got that pronunciation from Ciccione himself, so I'm going with that. And he goes into the end zone. Oh, he could have been somebody. That would have been a great catch by Dave Angeletti.
The ground can cause a fumble.
Yeah, the ground can, and that's unfortunate because Dave laid out for that. He got his hand on it. Nick Patel coming up to the cone and popping it across to Dave Baer in the end zone. Nicely out to Mike Campanella, who pops it up to Greg Martin, fakes up the field, does a little backhand to Esser. At the 20, he puts that flick out to V. Radams.
Ripping it from the sky.
Man. Matt Esser with the Radams dime, and Radams snatched that from the jaws of an interception. That was a great last-second whiplash play to take it to 28-20. And the Pitt player there should not be, he should not be upset with himself. That was a great effort and just a difficult one to bring in for Dave Angeletti. He's been all over the field this afternoon working hard. And I think it's safe to say that Pittsburgh's feeling it a little bit here with 4 minutes left. But I still don't see anybody giving up. I still don't see anybody hanging their head. James Pollard with a nice backhand that's floating gently into Vats at the 7 or 8. Up to John Mast again. Usual suspects. Hammond's out in the flat with Trimble in the middle. Puts a flick to Max Shepard. Don't want to see him at the 40, but Arcata with the pick. We got Mike Arcata with the D again. I think that's his 3rd of the game. And Max Shepard with a turn that you really got to say that was his 6th. And that was Matt Esser from who threw that?
James Pollard?
Was that Pollard who threw that? I missed it. I saw Esser catch it, but I missed who threw it. Let's see if Eli knows.
Phoenix have now doubled up the Thunderbirds here in the fourth quarter. This is all but over. Meanwhile, in D.C., contentious point. Still 2019 rush, but Darryl Stanley, former Phoenix assistant coach, just losing it on the sideline over a call.
Oh, is he? Oh, that's funny.
Hey, we get into this stuff as coaches, Bailey.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody, when you're trying to win a game, you're not really caring.
Pull coming in at the 24 with Damiano on the mark.
About anything else.
Okay,
really.
we've got a three-man up front, sort of Dave Baer with a double team on McMullen over to Robage. Almost intercepted, and it can't be handled by Anthony Kahn there. Nick Patel coming back with it over to James.
A little junk by the
on
Phoenix.
the far. James with a nice, easy flick back to Nick Patel. That was a pretty play. Pollard is developing some touch on that flick, which he really needs. Well, I mean, everybody needs, but new players, it's one of the hardest things to do. He has a natural ease and grace with it.
Nick.
And Nick Patel with a fourth turnover, but not any since the first quarter, I believe. Liam Rosen up here to Robage, who is looking deep for Kahn. He puts the big hammer out to him, and Kahn cannot quite get it. I'm not going to give Robage the turn on that because I don't think Mr. Kahn had anything left in the tank to go get that.
These are tired legs now.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
Anthony's been on the field most of the afternoon. He really has. We have 96 over there. Casey Vaughn holding the disc. Back to Dave Baer. James Pollard open here at the 36, 37. Back to Baer. He does a little hop move, and now he's trying to clear out of the way and get the D out of the way. Casey Vaughn again with the disc on the far side. Ooh, he pops it up to Greg Martin. Back to Casey Vaughn. And Casey Vaughn, kaboom.
There's 30
into
for the Phoenix. You called a pregame,
number 8, Ethan Fortin. Who just caught that? Greg Martin, I think, right?
Yeah, it was quite far away, and my glasses are
I think
quite.
it's Casey Vaughn to Greg Martin.
The Breeze have tied the game up at 20 down in D.C. against the Rush.
Oh, my goodness.
Drama ensuing in the AUDL East.
The Phoenix now have 17 points this half, and the Thunderbirds have 20 for the game. That'll tell you something about the shift in momentum. Matt Esser gets ready to pull. Ryan Brown, I'm sure Pittsburgh is happy as long as he wants to take. And we have Ryan Weaver out there. Ben Davies on D. And it looks like even Mike Arcott. No, 32. Igor is back out. Got a double team on the mark here with 48 Ryan Weaver and Ryan Brown. The Ryan double team. Ben Davies on the mark now. Dave Vatz for Pittsburgh. Popping it over to Shepard, and he's unmarked. Back to Vatz. He's got no one downfield, though. Shepard also knows how to milk it as a receiver and take those gentlemen extra 2 or 3 steps. Dave Vatz, again, uncovered. Looks like the Phoenix D is kind of relaxing at this point, too. It's not unexpected. Pat Hammonds with a nice fake to get Weaver off him. Back center to Vatz and across to Trimble.
It's the ultimate version of the prevent D, Bailey.
Yeah, right. Pat Hammonds again.
We're under a minute.
He fakes the D. 55 seconds. Look at that. Trimble over to Mast. Yeah, I think Pittsburgh is just working it out, too. They don't need any more play downfield. Vatz with a nice falling catch. He's looking for somebody open. He doesn't really have anybody. And, of course, goes to Ryan Ciccione, who swings back over to Hammonds, who's got Dave Vatz at the 1. Vatz just waiting for somebody to make the cut. Dumps it instead to John Mast, who pulls it out and pops it in. It looks again like Chris Graber with another goal. John Mast with another assist, making his 6th. And Graber's 5th reception. for goals, and we have 27 seconds left, so we are inside the 30-second mark. But it's not going to be any sweat here because the game is settled. It's determined.
Meanwhile, down in D.C., there are people sweating profusely.
Yes.
2020 rush with the disc, 5:26 left. Between the Phoenix jumping back into the playoff conversation. If the Rush can hold on.
Yeah, I think even if the Rush can't hold on, they're still in the conversation. But this puts them solidly in with the same record as D.C. A surprising thing, the East has proven to be much more competitive this year. With, Toronto out in front all alone and New York second. Still I think they were only 4-2. They've got games to make up, among them the July 15th contest here. Oh, Mike Arcata almost with a turnover push pass to Dustin Damiano. And they're just dump swinging now. Here's to Ethan Fortin, back to Arcata. And that's the game. Arcata with a crossfield hammer to park the disc.
I think he threw that to his girlfriend Hannah in the stands as an exclamation point on his best game of the year.
And we have our Phoenix referees are picking up the game discs quickly this week. Yeah,
that's sticking it to Ottawa a little bit.
Yeah, well, that's a reference to Ottawa players stealing all our game discs last week. That's right, I'm saying it out loud. I don't care who hears me either. We watch them do it, sticking them under their shirts, and then running across the sideline to grab the others. Yeah.
That happened.
Don't do that kind of stuff in front of the announcer, boys. We will call you out.
Especially in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and I'll call you men when you stop stealing. You're boys when you do that kind of high school crap.
Wow.
The Phoenix with a resounding 30-21 win. I had said 8 or 9, did I not? Possibly 10.
You said 8 with the 8-10.
Yeah,
was the spread, and you were right
in the difference.
Right
yeah, I mean, again, Pittsburgh. Kudos to them. Shorthanded, coming out here and making it a game early on. They brought the good weather. They brought the biggest crowd we had this year. A very sporting game. The penalty on Liam Rosen notwithstanding. And a real offensive, a consistent offensive game for the Phoenix. I'm not going to get all gushy on them because their first quarter was terrible.
Yeah, there was a lot of unforced errors.
They were not focusing. They had at least 7 turns, and we probably missed a couple. So that's just the straight talk. But, in a game that ended much as we expected it might, Pittsburgh, we've got 51 goals scored here.
That's a big number.
That's a big number.
That 10-goal third period. There was 18 goals scored between the two teams in the third quarter alone.
Just amazing. And
defense optional.
Right. And the Phoenix, as you look at this, with a 30, we were 13, so 17 in the second half. They had 17 in the second half, and Pittsburgh had 21 for the game. That's a nice offensive showing for the Phoenix, especially given how bad their first quarter was. So there was some redemption. There was some refocus. Pittsburgh should definitely be proud of themselves, the effort they put out here today. They clearly had some fans. Our side of the stadium was populated by 40 or 50 folks, which was great to see. And our first really beautiful Ultimate Day here at AA Garthwaite. We're looking forward to 2 more of those. Looks like we have, I think it's Montreal on the 24th. I know it is the 24th. That's a Sunday afternoon game. And then the New York Empire for the makeup that was lightninged out will be here Saturday, July 15th at 6:30. The Sunday game, June 24th, is 1 p.m. We hope to see some of you local folks out there because it's worth the trip, I got to tell you.
This team is entertaining. It's competitive. And I'm telling you, they are in the thick of things right now in the East.
They truly are.
And it's been a long time since we've been able to say that. And right now, the D.C. Breeze are working the disc against the Rush in D.C. 2020 game, just under 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
So
D.C. holding on here for a big break opportunity. They get it, and the Breeze are up 21-20. Big break, 2:52 left. If you're going to log off of here, go over to there.
Go over and watch DC Breeze.
WatchStadium.com. It's if you go to Twitter, the AUDO.com has a link to the game. And hey, let's go Rush.
Yeah.
Right, for real. Like, help us out.
Come on, Toronto. We don't care that you're 8-1 or 8-0. Let's go out to 9 and set DC back. Give them the same record as we have.
Let's thicken things up.
Yeah.
In the East here.
Amen to that.
Coming down the stretch here, I think it's going to be exciting, ultimate, and I think there's a lot of people are going to start coming out here. The weather's starting to get nicer.
I hope so. It's about time.
And this team is, for once, very exciting.
It's really great to see. We're looking out the window here. We've got George Harris chatting with the Thunderbirds, having a nice after-game chat. Very collegial game, highly spirited, great to see. And, again, Pittsburgh, really a lot more competitive than we thought they would be with the reduced numbers they brought. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to say goodbye for now for Stevie Leinert. This is Bailey Saul here in beautiful downtown Conshohocken, PA. Looking forward to seeing you on June 24th for our next game with the Philadelphia Phoenix. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you soon.